so far we have this add new thing going on here, and we just want to populate it now. So in order to add these forms and to keep the theme that our admin page came with, I'm going to open the -gam bootstrap, the original template, the HTML version, and I will go to forms. I think this is where the form components are. So form components, and I want a few things in here. So for example, I do want a button here. So let me right click and let's see what this button has. Inspect element, like so. So let us inspect our element. And at this point, let's go down here. Let's see the class. There we go. So button theme. That is the class name we need. So let me actually just copy. Let me just copy that. That should do. So let's come back to our thing here. This is our box. So let me paste what I have there before I lose it. And let me put this one right here. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Okay, there we go. So add new category, and that way we can know where it begins and it ends. Okay. And let's create a button here. So I will put a button, and let's put class here, and let's put our class name in there, and let's put save. I think that should do it. So let's see what we get with that. Refresh, click, and there we go. Save. That is our button there. I think I kind of like primary button. Let's see what we get from that. Okay, I think that's much better. So we have that button here, but I want it on the other side. So like I said, I'm not good with Bootstrap, so I will just put my styles here. I will say float right, like so. Goody. So float right. Bam. We are good to go. Now let's get some more items, shall we? So in here, once I scroll down, I think what I really need is this one right here, the default, just the form elements and the default there. So let me inspect the element. In fact, let me just copy that, and let's load this theme. What are we looking at? We're looking at form components. So let's drag and drop and find what we want. So that's form elements right there. Okay, so this is the form panel. So I think let's get that. Where does it end? Where does it end? Okay, so we'll get all this, and then there's the form. Where is the form? Up to there. Good. Form panel. Up to form panel. Basic form element. Let's see what happens when we just get everything, you know. Grab everything. Oops, too much. Okay, there we go. So at this point, we want to add these items here so that we can have a functioning form. Let's see how it looks before we commit to it. So way too much for my liking. So let's see, form elements. Nope. So what we will do is, let me push this in a little bit, and then let's remove all the junk. Like so. Oh, the junk. So first of all, let's remove the raw. So select that div and see where it ends, and this is it. Let's remove the row on the column for a second. Row, column, boom. So we're starting with the form now, and let's refresh that and see what we got. Okay, so we just have our padding here that's remaining, which is good. Okay, so what we need is just the very first, I don't know the type of text box you want. You could want this rounded one and you leave that, but I want this very first one. So this item is form control default with its label and its input right there. So everything else is completely unnecessary. So let's delete as much as we can. Form group, this is another form group. Static control, nope, we don't need you either, my friend. So out. Okay, so we have our button there and we have our control. So let's see what kind of thing we have now. All right, so there we go. Form elements and default, and that's one there. So I don't want this box behind it, so this is the form panel, I think. And let's remove the form panel as well. Okay, there we go. Form elements, default, save. Cool. Now here I will definitely put a break tag just to give some distance between these guys. Okay, there we go. Not enough distance. I don't know why this guy is, oh, because it's floating. Okay, so when you have issues with positioning like this, just let's do this. Let me go to the add new and add a position of relative. So, oh, actually there's absolute, so no need, never mind. That will do just fine. So what I will do here is I say position so let me position it absolutely, that way I get what I want. I would say bottom maybe 10 pixels, and then right I'll get 10 pixels, something like this. So let's try that and see what happens. This guy doesn't seem to want to float the way I want to float. So position absolute, bottom, oh, it's bottom, my bad. Refresh, add new, and there we go. Nice and cool. Okay, so we have default. Now we don't want that there. What we want is form elements should be add category, add new category, and here the default will be category name. Oops, got that is some category there, category name. Okay, very good. There we go, category name. Boom, that's the category name we need. And let's put an autofocus here. Autofocus, just like that. That should do it, so that it's blinking. I guess that doesn't work because we have other controls in here, but we could actually use JavaScript for this, no problem. So input type text. Okay. So let me just give this an ID or a name. We will need a name, so the name will be category. There we go. And let me give it an ID and say category, like so. So if there's no other ID with this, this should suffice just fine. So why I'm doing that is I want, when I click on this, actually I could put a close button here somewhere to help out with this, because this is not so intuitive. Actually, even the background is way too dark, so let's ease that in a little bit. Okay, like so. Click that. Okay, that's much better. So let's where is the CSS? CSS, where are you? Now, in order to set it apart from the background, let's add a box shadow. 0 pixels left, 0 pixels top, 10 pixel blurriness, and let's add a light dark shadow. Okay, so you can adjust as needed, but this will suffice. But I want it to be active here so I can begin typing instantly and just add a category there and hit save button, right? So let's come back here again. Now the method here is get, but let's put post. Now the thing to remember is you don't actually need a form here because we'll be using JavaScript, so we don't need this form. We just need the input, but we'll just leave it there for now because it's I think it's helping with the CSS. So there we go. Oh, actually that's what was the issue, because the button is outside the form. That's why it wasn't conforming to these guys. So if you are going to use the submit button, it will have to be inside the form like this. But at this point it won't matter because I've positioned it absolutely, so regardless it will be there. Okay, so what I want is to get this ID category and set focus to it. So I will go to my JavaScript here. When we remove the hide, meaning that we are showing the box, so at this point let's focus on it. So I will say the category input, so that it's more descriptive, is equal to document dot query selector. Now here we're going to select an ID of category, and then we're just going to say category input dot focus. It's a method, so put those parentheses there. Okay, good. Refresh, add new, and now you see it's blinking as soon as you click. Very nice. So now you can actually type something here, a category name. So let's think of some categories. Let's say food. Food sounds like a good one, and then let's hit save, and of course nothing happens as you would expect, right? Bam, nothing. Okay, goody. Now the reason the button is actually refreshing the page is because it's a submit button. So when you make a button like this, it's equivalent to saying input button submit. So we'll have to stop that action from happening. You could do that by saying type is equal to a button, like so. If you do that, then it's going to stop refreshing. And let's resend the data, add, and click save. So you see it's not doing anything here. So I would rather we keep this here because we might want to show the user some messages if things didn't go well. So instead of closing it. Okay, so let's do that. Now we will add an event listener here and try to actually save this content to our database. Okay, so we'll do that in the next video.